No one noticed the invasion at first. There were no explosions. No alarms across Earth. No panic in the streets. The Draconian fleet entered human space quietly, like hunters stepping into tall grass. Their ships were massive, black, and sharp-edged, built for fear. They had crushed dozens of worlds before. To them, this was not a war. It was a routine action. Humans did not fire back. That confused the Draconians. Across human space, satellites detected the fleet, but no emergency broadcast followed. No angry response. No desperate warning. Just silence. The Draconian commanders watched human transmissions closely. They expected fear. They expected chaos. Instead, human signals slowly went dark. One by one. This species does not understand what is coming, the Draconian warlord said calmly. But what he did not know was this. Humans had already seen this kind of threat before. And when humans go silent, it is never surrender. Deep inside human command stations, no one shouted. No one begged. Officers moved with slow, careful steps. Old protocols, ones never used in public, were activated. Across the fleet, a single human message was sent. Not to the enemy but to themselves. 3 simple words. Begin final measure. The Draconian fleet continued forward, confident and proud. They did not know that this was the last moment anyone would ever see them. The first warning arrived on a quiet day. It was a short message, cold and clear, transmitted to every major human system. The voice was deep and sharp, speaking perfect human language. This is the Draconian Empire. You have entered restricted existence. Human territory is now claimed. Submit or be removed. On Earth, leaders laughed at first. Some thought it was a prank. Others believed it was a threat meant to scare weaker nations. Humanity had met alien species before. Trade partners, observers, even rivals. None had spoken like this. A few generals warned that the message felt different. It's too calm, one of them said. They sound certain. But certainty does not convince politicians. Debates followed. Meetings stretched for hours. By the time humans realized the message was real, the Draconian fleet had already crossed the outer edge of human-controlled space. Still, humans did not attack. To the Draconians, this confirmed their belief. Humans were divided, slow, and afraid. Their intelligence reports showed humans arguing among themselves, unable to agree on anything. What a weak species, the Draconian warlord said. They fear even their own decisions. The fleet advanced deeper. Human colonies watched strange shadows pass across their skies. Long, dark shapes blocking stars. People recorded videos. Some prayed. Others ran. But there was no counterattack. Instead, something strange happened. Human military ships began to withdraw, not in panic, but in perfect order. Defensive stations powered down. Border worlds went silent. To the Draconian commanders, it looked like surrender. What fools, one officer said. They abandoned their space without a fight. But one Draconian analyst hesitated. Sir, he said slowly, their retreat is too clean. The warlord ignored him. Fear can make any species organized, he replied. Back on Earth, far beneath the surface, human commanders stood around a dark table. Old symbols glowed on the walls. Systems that had not been touched for generations came online. One admiral spoke quietly. We hoped this day would never come. Another nodded. They ignored the signs. There was no anger in the room. Only focus. Humanity had learned long ago that showing power invites challenge. So they had hidden it, buried it under treaties, trade, and peaceful words. The Draconians had mistaken kindness for weakness. As the enemy fleet moved into a region of space humans called the Black Corridor, the last human ship disappeared from Draconian sensors. The warlord smiled. They are gone, he said. The path is open. He gave the order to advance. At that exact moment, every Draconian ship lost contact with each other for half a second. Just half a second. Then space itself seemed to close behind them. Far away, in human command, a small light turned green. The admiral whispered, They didn't listen. And the trap was complete. The Draconian fleet moved deeper into the black corridor. At first, nothing seemed wrong. Their ships were still powerful. Engines strong. Weapons ready. Long rows of war vessels stretched across space, confident and untouched. To the Draconians, this was the moment of victory. Humans had pulled back. Their defenses were gone. Scan again, the warlord ordered. The screens showed empty space. No human ships. No stations. No signals. Only darkness. This species fled, one commander said. They chose survival over pride. The warlord agreed. His kind respected strength, not caution. In Draconian history, retreat always meant weakness. But something felt wrong. The stars ahead looked dull. Not gone. Just quieter. A science officer adjusted his readings. My lord, he said slowly, energy levels are inconsistent. The warlord's eyes narrowed. Explain. The space around us is stable, the officer replied, but it reacts late, as if it is listening. That made no sense. Space did not listen. The warlord dismissed the concern. Human tricks, he said. Illusions to slow us. The fleet continued forward. Minutes passed. Then one ship vanished. There was no explosion. No heat spike. No debris. One moment it was there. The next it was not. Report, the warlord demanded. No answer came from the missing ship. Another vessel slowed suddenly. Its engines shut down without command. Then another disappeared. Fear spread through the command deck. Raise shields, a commander shouted. The shields activated, but nothing hit them. Sensors began to fail. Communication lag increased. Ships could still see each other, but messages arrived seconds late. Then minutes. This is not an attack, the science officer said. This is control. The warlord finally understood. Humans had not retreated. They had prepared the ground. Far from the fleet, human observers watched in silence. Their ships were hidden far beyond normal range, masked by layers of old technology. Technology humans had never shared. One human officer spoke quietly. Phase lock is holding. Another checked his screen. Draconian formation is breaking. They don't understand what's happening, the admiral said. They think power is loud. Human history had taught them a harsh lesson. Loud power invites resistance. Silent power ends conflict. Back in the black corridor, the Draconian fleet was losing control. Navigation systems showed false distances. A ship would try to turn and move in the wrong direction. Weapons refused to charge. Engines burned more fuel than expected. The warlord slammed his claw against the command rail. Find the enemy! But there was no enemy to see. Humans were not firing weapons. They were rewriting space. The black corridor was not empty. It was shaped. Humans had spent decades preparing this region, bending physics slowly, carefully. No sudden changes. Nothing that would alert other species. To the galaxy, it was just another quiet passage. To the Draconian fleet, it was a cage. One by one, ships lost their ability to escape. Some were pulled apart by invisible forces. Others simply faded, locked outside normal space. Draconian warriors panicked. They were bred for battle, not confusion. This is dishonor, one shouted. The warlord tried to restore order, but even his command signals could not travel correctly. His voice arrived broken and late. This species hides like prey, he growled. But deep down, he felt something new. Humans had shown no rage, no challenge, no warning shots, only preparation. A final report reached him, weak and distorted. My lord, the humans, they built this long before we came. The warlord stared into the dark space ahead. For the first time in his long life, he understood the truth. Humans did not show their teeth. They waited until the bite was final. And the Draconian fleet was already inside their jaws. The Draconian warlord refused to accept defeat. His fleet was damaged, confused, but not destroyed. He believed strength could still break any cage. That belief had ruled his empire for centuries. Force our way out, he ordered. Burn everything in our path. Draconian ships fired their main weapons into the dark. Bright beams cut through space, powerful enough to tear planets apart. But the beams bent, twisted, and vanished. Some returned weaker, striking their own shields. The warlord watched in silence. This was no battlefield. This was a test. As the fleet pushed forward, space resisted them. Movement became heavy, like flying through deep water. Engines screamed. Hulls cracked under pressure that could not be measured. Then the humans appeared. Not as a fleet. Not as an attack. One small human ship faded into view, far ahead of the Draconian formation. It did not carry heavy weapons. It did not raise shields. It simply waited. The warlord stared at it. Open a channel. The human face appeared on screen. No fear. No anger. This area is closed, the human said. His voice was steady. You were warned. The warlord's claws tightened. You hide behind tricks, he replied. Face us. The human did not argue. We already did, he said. The channel closed. At that moment, the black corridor changed. Invisible lines of force snapped into place. Space folded inward. Distances collapsed. Draconian ships that were kilometers apart suddenly collided. Panic erupted. Formations broke. Orders overlapped. Warriors shouted in rage and fear. This is impossible, a commander yelled. No, the science officer said quietly. It was planned. Human observers watched every movement, every mistake. Their systems predicted draconian reactions before they happened. Humans had learned this long ago. The best way to defeat a stronger enemy is to let them defeat themselves. One draconian battleship tried to jump too faster than light. Its drive activated for half a second. Then the ship vanished. Not destroyed. Removed. Another ship followed. The warlord felt the truth sink deeper. This was not a battle meant to be won. It was a lesson meant to be remembered. Fall back, he roared. But there was no direction left to fall to. The corridor had no exit anymore. Human weapons finally activated. Not with noise, but with silence. Draconian sensors went blind. Command links collapsed. Ships lost awareness of time itself. To the crews, seconds felt like hours. To the humans, everything moved exactly on schedule. A human commander spoke softly. Phase 2 complete. The admiral nodded. Begin separation. One by one, Draconian ships were isolated. Cut off from the fleet. Cut off from each other. Each trapped in a pocket of space that did not follow normal rules. No explosions. No glory. Just removal. The warlord stood alone on his bridge as the stars around him stretched into thin lines. Humans, he whispered. What are you? Far away, the human admiral watched the final stage begin. Not conquerors, he said. Not rulers. He paused. Survivors. The last draconian signal broke apart into static. Then silence returned to the black corridor. To the galaxy, nothing unusual had happened. But to the Draconian Empire, an entire fleet had just stopped existing. And the worst part was still coming. There was no record of the battle. No explosions were seen. No distress calls escaped. No images reached the wider galaxy. Yet inside the black corridor, the Draconian fleet was dying. Each ship was trapped in its own silent prison. Space around them no longer followed simple rules. Time stretched. Distance folded. Sensors showed shapes that should not exist. Draconian warriors were trained to face death. But this was not death. This was disappearance. On one ship, a crew tried to fire their weapons. The controls responded late, then not at all. Power drained into nothing. The ship slowly faded, like mist under a rising sun. On another, the crew felt crushing pressure. Hull metal bent inward without impact. The ship folded into itself, clean and quiet. No debris remained. The Draconian warlord watched his empire vanish piece by piece. His flagship still functioned, barely. Emergency systems held it together. He could see fragments of his fleet on broken screens, signals flickering, then going dark forever. "Send a final report," he ordered. The communication officer hesitated. "My lord, there is no path out." The warlord closed his eyes. For the first time, he understood what humans had done. They had not destroyed the fleet. They had erased it. Far away, Human Command monitored the operation with calm precision. No cheers filled the room. No victory speeches were made. One officer spoke quietly. "All enemy vessels contained." Another checked his data. No civilian systems affected. The admiral nodded. "Then we proceed." Humanity had learned long ago that survival required control, not chaos. Their greatest weapons were never designed to be seen. They were designed to end threats before wars could spread. Back inside the Black Corridor, Draconian crews began to lose hope. Time no longer moved evenly. Some ships experienced hours in moments. Others felt frozen, trapped between seconds. On one cruiser, the crew aged rapidly. On another, they never aged at all. Fear turned into madness. "This space is cursed," one warrior screamed. "No," another replied softly. "It is human." The warlord stood tall until the end. Even as stars bent and vanished, he refused to kneel. But his voice broke as he spoke his final words. "We misjudged them." The flagship shuddered. Space wrapped around it like a closing fist. Then it was gone. No explosion marked its end. No echo followed. The Black Corridor returned to stillness. From the outside, it looked unchanged. A quiet stretch of space with no warning signs. Trade routes nearby continued as normal. Only humans knew what lay beneath. Days later, alien scouts approached the area. Their sensors detected nothing unusual. No wreckage. No radiation. No sign of battle. Confusion spread. "How does an entire fleet vanish?" one species asked. No answer came. Human Command sealed the data. Records were locked. Witnesses were silent. The Admiral gave one final order. "Mark this zone as restricted." No explanation. "But sir," an officer asked, "what if they return?" The Admiral looked at the dark screen. "They won't," he said. "Those who see this place never leave." Across the galaxy, the Draconian Empire waited for its fleet. It never arrived. Messages went unanswered. Signals faded into silence. Commanders argued. Leaders denied reality. An empire built on fear began to shake. And somewhere deep in human space, old systems powered down. The trap had served its purpose. The battle that was never recorded was over. But its echo was about to reach the stars. The Draconian Empire waited. At first, no one was worried. Fleets often took time to return. Conquest was slow, and victory required patience. But days passed. Then weeks. No reports arrived. No victory signal. No transmission of any kind. The Draconian High Council gathered beneath the black spires of the throne world. Massive screens showed empty space where the fleet should have been. "Reroute communications," one elder ordered. "Increase signal strength." The result was the same. Silence. "This is not possible," another said. "The fleet is unstoppable." But doubt had already entered the room. Scouts were sent toward human space. Small, fast ships designed to observe, not fight. None returned. The Empire's confidence cracked. Whispers spread through military ranks. Officers spoke quietly. Workers paused longer at their stations. An empire built on fear had discovered something worse. The unknown. At the edge of human space, a Draconian listening post detected nothing unusual. No wreckage. No radiation. No sign of battle. It was as if the fleet had never existed. "This defies reason," a scientist said. "There should be evidence." "There is none," the commander replied. "That is the problem." The High Council demanded answers. They pressured allied species, threatened traders, forced information from prisoners. No one knew anything, or no one dared speak. Meanwhile, human space remained calm. Trade continued. Civilian traffic moved freely. No signs of war preparation were visible. To outsiders, humans looked peaceful. Normal. That frightened the Draconians more than weapons ever could. On the throne world, the Emperor finally spoke. Humans did this, he said. The room fell silent. They did not fight us, he continued. They removed us. Fear spread across the council chamber. The Emperor ordered a final act. A probe, unmanned and automated, was sent into the black corridor. Its cameras transmitted for 30 seconds. Then the feed ended. The data showed nothing, just stars slowly bending, stretching, and fading. That was enough. The Empire issued an emergency decree. All Draconian forces were ordered to avoid human territory. Borders were redrawn overnight. Old plans were erased. The word forbidden appeared on star maps beside human space. Other species noticed. Questions spread through the galaxy. What happened to the Draconian fleet? No official answer was given. Rumors filled the silence. Some said humans controlled time. Others claimed they erased souls. Many believed humans had awakened something ancient. Only one thing was certain. The Draconian Empire no longer threatened anyone. Their fleet stayed close to home. Their patrols weakened. Their allies drifted away. Fear had reached the throne. And it stayed there. Far from the Empire, in a quiet human command room, an officer reviewed the latest reports. Draconian activity has dropped to zero near our borders, he said. The Admiral nodded. Good. Should we say something? The officer asked. The Admiral shook his head. Silence was enough. Humanity returned to its routines. No victory was announced. No warning was broadcast. But across the galaxy, one truth spread faster than light. Humans do not invade. Humans do not threaten. But if crossed, they erase the path behind you. For a long time, humans said nothing. That silence weighed heavily on the galaxy. Trade routes shifted. Border patrols slowed. Even the boldest species avoided human space. No one wanted to test a power that erased an entire fleet without leaving a mark. Then, one day, the message arrived. It did not come as a threat. It was not broadcast loudly. It was sent quietly to every known empire, council, and ruling world. The message contained no symbols of power. No military display. No demands. Only a single human representative appeared on the screen. He did not wear armor. He did not stand on a warship. He stood in a simple room. We are human, he began. His voice was calm. We speak today so there is no confusion tomorrow. The galaxy listened. We did not seek conflict with the Draconian Empire, he said. We did not respond to their invasion with force as others might. The pause that followed was deliberate. We responded with finality. Murmurs spread across distant worlds. The human continued. Our space is not empty. It is prepared. We do not expand by conquest. We survive by caution. Some leaders leaned closer to their screens. For centuries, humans have learned one lesson, he said. The loudest power invites challenge. Quiet power ends it. No threat was spoken. Yet every word felt heavier than weapons. We hide what we can do, the message said. Not because we are weak, but because we value peace. Another pause. When the Draconian fleet entered our territory, they crossed a line we hoped no one would cross again. Again. That single word carried history. We removed the threat, the human said. Not out of anger. Not for revenge. For safety. Images followed the message. Not of the battle, but of normal human life. Children walking under open skies. Cities glowing softly at night. Trade ships moving peacefully through space. This is what we protect, the human said. The message ended with a final statement. Human space is open to those who come in peace. A brief silence. Those who come in force will not return. The screen went dark. Across the galaxy, reactions were immediate. Some empires erased invasion plans. Others strengthened treaties. Many quietly marked human systems as neutral and untouchable. On the Draconian throne world, the Emperor watched the message alone. There was no anger left in him. Only understanding. They had mistaken silence for fear. They had believed peace meant weakness. They were wrong. The Emperor issued his last command regarding humans. No Draconian vessel will ever cross their border again. His advisors did not argue. In human space, the Admiral turned away from the screen. "Lock the archives," he said. "This ends here." "Will they remember?" an officer asked. The Admiral paused. "They don't need to remember us," he replied. "They need to remember the absence." The systems powered down. Hidden networks went quiet. The Black Corridor returned to being just another unremarkable stretch of space. But the galaxy had changed. Not because of a war. Because of a message. The galaxy did not forget the Draconian fleet. No wreckage was ever found. No survivors were recorded. No enemy claimed credit. One of the largest invasion forces in known space had simply stopped existing. That absence became a warning. Star maps were updated across dozens of worlds. Near human space, new markings appeared. Some called it restricted. Others used a simpler word: avoid. Trade ships changed course. Exploration fleets adjusted their routes. Even ancient empires, older and stronger than the Draconians, chose caution. Humans noticed. They said nothing. In human systems, life continued as it always had. Cities grew. Ships traveled. Children learned history that never mentioned the Black Corridor by name. To most humans, the invasion was just a rumor. Something discussed in quiet rooms, then forgotten. That was how it was meant to be. Human leaders understood something the galaxy was still learning. Fear fades. Legends grow. Silence lasts. Years passed. The Draconian Empire shrank. Without its fleet, its grip weakened. Worlds once held by force demanded freedom. Allies drifted away. The Empire did not fall in fire. It faded. Other species studied what remained. They searched for human weapons. They searched for proof. They found none. Only empty space. A council of major powers met to discuss the new balance of the galaxy. One question dominated every meeting. Are humans a threat? An old delegate answered calmly. No, he said. They are a limit. The council agreed. A single rule began to spread, spoken quietly between captains and kings. Do not test humans. Do not corner them. Do not mistake patience for weakness. Because humans do not seek control. They seek safety. And they will remove anything that threatens it. On Earth, the admiral who had overseen the operation stood before a window, watching ships move across the sky. An officer approached him. Do you think anyone will try again? She asked. The admiral did not answer right away. They might, he said finally. Some always do. And then, he looked back at the stars. Then they will learn, he said. Far away, in a quiet region of space, the Black Corridor remained untouched. No signals passed through it. No explorers entered. It was not guarded. It did not need to be. The galaxy had learned the rule. Human space was not defended by fleets. It was defended by consequences. And the Draconian fleet was never seen again.